Hello everyone, this is Dr. D. Srilakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. In this lecture, I would like to discuss on adjacency list and incidence matrix. In my previous lecture, I discussed about adjacency matrix. Now, we will discuss adjacency list and incidence matrix. What is adjacency list and when we will use this and what are the advantages, disadvantages, applications. These are the subtopics which we will discuss in this lecture. And even when a graph is given, how we will represent adjacency list, we will find in this lecture. Adjacency list. Adjacency list representation. When a graph is given, how we will find an adjacency list? An adjacency list is used in the linked representation to store the graph in the computer's memory. So whatever data we are giving, that need to be stored in the computer memory. And in which format it is stored is also important. So here, the adjacency list is used in the linked representation to store the graph in the computer's memory. It is efficient in terms of storage as well as to store the values for edges. In this representation, we keep a list of neighbors for each vertex in the graph. See, when a graph contains 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3, and they are connected with each other. And if they are connected with each other, the representation of this graph in terms of adjacency list is each vertex will have the combination or the adjacency vertex. So now here 1 is connected to 2 and 1 is connected to 3. So here the adjacent vertices are 2 and 3. Whether we can store this in a list or as in the form of a tuple, that is our general description. But in memory, how it will store means in the form of a linked list. A vertex will be considered, and to this vertex, how the vertices will connected are in the form of linked list. Or just we will say linked representation to store the graph in the computer's memory. It means that each vertex in the graph has a list of its neighbors. Next, each array element points to a single linked list of V neighbors, and the array is indexed by the vertex number. The array is indexed by the vertex number. So we can say this is stored with or stored in the form of dictionary also. When we are giving this adjacency list to any algorithm which is used to find the shortest path, then the format will be in dictionary. So here the vertex 1 will act as a key and the corresponding vertices that are neighbors to vertex 1 will be listed like this, or in the form of a list also. And vertex 2 is also connected to 1 and 3. Vertex 3 is also connected to 1 and 2. So this is the adjacency list representation, simple form of a graph in terms of adjacency list representation. And this is the graph where we seen in the previous slide, which is an undirected graph. So now we will see how it is linked format and how it is stored in the computer's memory. So here we taken an undirected graph. This figure represents an undirected graph where 5 vertices are there which are named as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we can say 5 vertices are there. And now edge connections E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6. So the edge connections are, or edges are 6. Now, if it is adjacency matrix, then wherever edge connection is established, we will mark it as 1. Wherever edge connection is not present, we will mark it as 0. That is related to the adjacency matrix. Now, this graph we want to represent in adjacency list format. So, as we discussed, vertex and edges are given through a graph. Now, I want adjacency list. So, this is a representation where we taken 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 are vertices. Now, each vertex which is connected to the other vertices will be represented in the form of linked list. See, 0 is connected to 1 and 0 is connected to 2. 0 is connected to 3. So, here 0 is connected to 1 and 0 is connected to 2, 0 is connected to 3. Here we will represent it as in link format. 0 to 1, 0 to 2, 0 to 3. Similarly, for vertex 1, it is connected to 0, it is connected to 3 and it is connected to 4. So here 1 is connected to 0, 1 is connected to 3, 1 is connected to 4. So in computer's memory, it is stored in this format. It will store the vertices to corresponding neighbor vertex. And here when you come to vertex 2, 2 is connected to 3, 2 is connected to 0. So where 2 is connected to 0, 2 is connected to 3. Similarly, when you move on to vertex 3, 3 is connected to 4 other vertices which are 3 to 4, 3 to 1, 3 to 0 and 3 to 2. So here we represented 0, 1, 2, 4. So where it is in the form of a linked, and when we come to final vertex 4, this is connected to 1 and 3. So 4 vertices neighbors are 1 and 3. So in this format, the adjacency list representation is described for a graph. This is for undirected graph. When we discuss with directed graph, then the adjacency list will be differ. In what way it will differ? Here we have an directed graph, that means pointing out with an arc. Now here is a graph with again 5 vertices which are connected 0 to 1. The direction is given from 0 to 1 and 0 to 2 and 0 to 3. So for first vertex 0, we have 1, 2, 3 vertices are neighbors. For 0 vertex, 1, 2, 3 are neighbors. When you come to first vertex, then the arrow mark projecting towards or the edge connection is established between 1 and 3 because a direction is given from 1 to 3. And similarly, a direction is given from 1 to 4. But here, there is no direction or there is no edge connection between 1 to 0 because they didn't given the edge connection like this. There is no edge connection like this. We have only from 0 to 1 which is pointing with an arc. But 1 to 0, we don't have any edge connection. So, we won't consider this. For vertex 1, the neighbors are or adjacent vertices are 4 and then 3. So, for vertex 1, the neighbor vertices are 3 and 4. Now, coming to second vertex, here this is connected to vertex 3. So, vertex 2 has a neighbor only 3. And if you come for vertex 4, this 4 doesn't have any outgoing. See here, 3 to 4, an edge connection is there. 1 to 4, an edge connection is there. But there is no connection from 4 to 1 or 4 to 3. Projecting like this, projecting with an arc. So, here for 4, we don't have any adjacency vertices. Since this is a directed graph, we will check only the out edge or projecting from the present vertex to the next vertex. If it is having the connection, then we will mark as a neighbor vertex. Otherwise, it is not neighbor vertex. This is for directed graph. Adjacency list for, this is an adjacency list for directed graph. Now, one more case is there, weighted graph, and which is a directed. Similarly, we can also consider a weighted graph which is not directed also. When we are discussing adjacency matrix, if the edge connection is there, we will mark it as 1. If not, we will mark as 0 or infinity. Here in adjacency list, when the weights are given, then the weights are allotted to that particular vertex. And this is the representation of that directed graph with weights. We will analyze this graph. So here, 5 vertices are given, A, B, C, D, E. And the weights are assigned as 5, 2, 4, 10, 8, 7. And since this is directed graph, only we need to consider the weight, that is, if A to B an edge connection is established, then the weight is 5. But from B to A, there is no edge connection. So we should not take the weight for B to A. There is no edge connection in this way. So we should not consider the weight 5 for B to A. We should connect only A to B. We have a connection only A to B. And now we should consider the weight 5. So see here how we will represent that. Vertex is selected and A is linked to B. A is linked to B with weight 5. In this way we will represent. A is connected to B with weight 5. And if you come to vertex B, B is connected to C, B is connected to D. B is connected to C, and B is connected to D with some weights. Now we will see how we connected. B is connected to C, that is B is connected to C with weight 2. And B is also connected to D with weight 8. Since there are no other adjacency vertices, we closed with cross mark. And similarly for vertex C, it is connected to E with weight 4. So C linked with E with weight 4. And vertex D, which is linked to A and then with weight 7. And we are not considering D to E or A to D. There is no edge connection, so we won't consider those edges. And final vertex is E, which is linked to D with weight 10. Since we don't have any other neighbors, we ended with a cross mark, which indicates there is no another neighbor to E or another adjacency vertex to vertex E. So in this way, we will find the adjacency list for directed graph. If the same graph is considered and by removing the arc, it will become a undirected graph where we can write the adjacency list. So we have seen undirected graph, directed graph, and directed graph with weights. So for these 3 cases, we found the adjacency list. Now, what are the characteristics of the adjacency list? An adjacency list representation uses a list of lists. See, this is a dictionary, and where vertex 1 is mapped to 2, 3. So what it is saying, it uses a list of lists. 1 is connected to 2, 3. 2 is connected to, consider this is an undirected graph. 2 is connected to 3, 1, and 3 is connected to 1, 2. So what the statement is, an adjacency list representation uses a list of lists. So here a list is there, within that list one more list is present. But as of now, we represented this in the form of a dictionary, where it has having a key and with corresponding values. Second point, the size of the list is determined by the number of vertices in the graph. So the size of the list determined by the number of vertices in the graph. And next point, all adjacent of the vertex are easily available, so that to find all adjacent, we need only order of n time where is the number of adjacent vertices, where n is the number of adjacent vertices. And next, applications of the adjacency list. A graph algorithms, where many graph algorithms like Dijkstra's algorithm, breadth first search, depth first search, to perform faster, this adjacency list will be used. So for these graph algorithms, adjacency list will be the input to find out the shortest path, where it will show the connected neighbors vertices, so that we can easily traverse from one vertex to another vertex based on their weights, and then we can find out the shortest path. And next, advantages of using an adjacency list. An adjacency list is simple and easy to understand because a complete picture will be there for a graph if more number of vertices are also present. The adjacency list represents in a easy format where we can see at a glance all the vertices and their connections. Secondly, it requires less space compared to adjacency matrix for sparse graphs, because here we are not taking vertex to vertex connections with 1. If there is no connection, 0. Here just we are taking whichever vertex is connected, we will use that vertex and then we will store that. So unnecessary space will be saved. Next, easy to traverse through all edges of a graph. Since easily it is able to identify which vertex is connected to the other vertices, we can easily traverse through all edges of a graph. And fourth one, adding a vertex is easier compared to adjacency matrix representation. So to add an edge or to delete an edge, it will be difficult in adjacency matrix. But here, adding a vertex is easier when compared with adjacency matrix. And most of the graph algorithms are implemented faster with this representation. Now, the next topic is incidence matrix. This is also one of the representation of graphs. The first one is adjacency matrix, second one is adjacency list, and third one is incidence matrix. The first two representations relates only the connection between vertices, where the rows and columns of the matrix belongs to only vertices. Whereas the incidence matrix will establish the connection between vertices and edges. So here we will see the analysis of incidence matrix. The incidence matrix is a way of representing a graph where rows represents the vertices and columns represents the edges. So previously in adjacency matrix, the row will represent the vertex and even column will represent the vertex. But here in incidence matrix, rows represent vertices and columns represent edges. Column means this column represent edges and row represents vertices. So here the connection between vertices and edges is easy to identify. Next, each entry in the matrix indicates whether a vertex is incident to an edge or not. And an incidence matrix represents the relationship between vertices and edges of a graph. This is an incidence matrix. For example, we take an undirected graph, and how we will represent the incidence matrix we will see. So here they taken vertices 5 and edge connections 7. So now as per the explanation, the row indicates the vertices and column indicates the edges. So the matrix need to be designed as A, B, C, D, E. These are vertices. E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. These are column representations. These are column representations. So now how we will represent the incidence matrix for the given graph. As usual, when the connection is established, then we will say with 1. If there is no connection, then we will say with 0, or we will map as 0. So we will see the adjacency matrix already. Now we will see incidence matrix. So this is the incidence matrix. So it is clearly given if the values of the cell is 1, it indicates that the vertex is incident on the edge. If the value of the cell is 0, it indicates that the vertex is not incident on the edge. We have the graph, right? A, B, C, D, E. Here a small change. C. Here it is D. And the connections now we will check. So A connected to E1, A connected to E2, and the rest of edges are 0. So see here, A is connected to E1, A is connected to E2. That is, the edges connected to vertex A will be marked as 1, and the remaining vertices are not connected through any incidence, that is through any edges, so they are marked as 0. So now A2, A is connected to 1 and A is connected to E2. But E3, E4, E5, E6, E7 were not connected to A. They are not incidents to A. So we will mark it as 0. Fine. Next, when coming to B vertex, this is incidents to E1, E4, E3 and E7. So now, wherever these edges are present, we will mark it as 1 and the rest of are zeros. So check, B2, E1 is there. So here 1, and at B2D, E4 is there. So at E4 1, B2E, E7. So at E7 1, B2C with E3 it is connected. So 1. So now the other edges are not connected, are not incidents to vertex B. They are marked as 0. Now coming to vertex C, C is connected to incidence E5, incidence E3 and incidence E2. So for E5, E3, E2 we will mark as 1 and for the rest of edges we will mark as 0. So for C check, C2E, E5 is connected and then E3 is connected and then E2 is connected. Rest of edges are zeros. When you come with D, E4 and E6, E4 and E6 are present and rest of the vertices are 0. And when you come to vertex E, E6, E7, E5 are incidents to the vertex E. So we will mark E6, E7 and E5 as 1 and the rest of the edges as zeros. So this is incidence matrix of the undirected graph. If a directed graph is given, how we will find out the incidence matrix? We will check. So let me take a simple graph with directions A to B, C, D, E. These are 5 vertices. A, B, C, D, E. Now I will generate an edge connections with directions A to B and A to C and B to C, D to C, B to D, C to E and D to E. So I taken vertices 5 and edges E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. Edges 7. Now we will develop an incidence matrix to the directed graph. As we know, we should consider vertices as rows. So A, B, C, D, E. And columns as edges. So how many edges are there? 7. E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. Now we will mark the connections, how they are connected with each other. Since this is directed graph, A is connected to B with out projecting. That is, we can say a vertex can act as head and tail. A vertex can act as head or tail. Or we can say starting vertex or end vertex. It means from A, there will be a direction to B. Or from B to A, there might be a direction. So here A to B is possible, B to A is possible. Now A is a starting vertex. It acts as a starting vertex when it is connected to B. And similarly, A is end vertex when B is the starting vertex. When B is the starting vertex. Both the possibilities are there. So now here, consider this example. Now E7 edges are there. I am adding this as E8 also. So one more edge connection is established with E8. See how we will represent. When A is projecting from A to B, then for edge connection E1, we will mark it as 1. From A to B, the direction is there like this. This is out from A to B. So A is acting as starting vertex where we mark 1. Similarly, A is an end vertex for B when it is started. So here at edge E8, we will mark it as -1. That is the main point which we need to remember. When A is acting as starting vertex, we need to indicate it as 1. When A becomes end vertex, then we need to mark it as -1. So now you identify how these directions are given and which incidences are related to the vertices. Now A, if you select A to B, E1, A to B, where A acts as an end vertex, so -1. From A to C, A acts as an starting vertex, so at incidence E2, we will mark it as 1. And for the remaining vertices, they are not connected, so the edges will be marked as 0. The edges will mark as 0. Next, when coming to vertex B, B is a starting vertex for D and C. We can also consider that B is traversing from B to D with edge E3. So at E3 we will mark it as 1 and at E6 we will mark it as 1 and the rest of edges we will mark it as 0. And now C, when come to vertex C, these are projecting from A to C, B to C and D to C. C is an end vertex. C is acting as an end vertex. So, wherever the edge connections are established, we need to mark it as -1. See, C is an end vertex. So, E2 need to be indicated as -1 and E6 as -1 and E4 as -1. But C has an out connection, that is C is acting as an starting vertex when it is traversing from C to E. So, edge at E5 we will mark it as 1. For remaining edge connections it is 0. Similarly, when you move on to vertex D, E3, for E3 this is the end vertex, so -1 and D is acting as starting vertex for E4 and E7. So for E4 and E7 we will mark it as 1 and the remaining edges we will mark it as 0. Now when you consider vertex E is acting as end vertex for both E7 and E5. So for E5 -1 and E7 also -1 and for the remaining edge connections we will mark it as 0. So in this way we will represent the incidence matrix for an directed graph. For an undirected graph, a point is 1 and 0. For as directed graph, we need to include -1 if the vertex acts as an end vertex. If the vertex acts as an starting vertex or start vertex, then we will mark it as 1. Hope the lecture is understandable and these are the references. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.